Hi, this is Shyamal Chandra, and this is Long Tail News, Episode 1 for 2024. And today I'm going to talk more about generative AI. All right? So, I've been looking through lots of the tools that are available for generative AI, and I came to the conclusion that most of them deliver motion for 5 to 10 seconds max. Now, that's a big problem. If you're looking for something that can create a whole movie, a whole storyline that could compete with other Academy Award films that are directed by Oscar nominated or Oscar winning directors, producers, cinematographers, and casted by famous places, this is a big problem. Now, how do you solve this problem? And this is going to be a big problem for not only the industry, but also for Uncanny Valley. How do we get to Uncanny Valley? Where can we find the Turing test between Oscar nomination and no Oscar Razzie nomination? These are big problems. So, what I'm thinking of this, and it dawns to me that we need some sort of planner. We need some planner and some way of verifying what of the contestant videos that were produced by this particular AI or generative AI is good. Now, how do we stitch together a plot? And how do we have the same character appear in multiple images? That is the big problem right now when you're using any of these tools that are available that produce text to video or image to video or image to 5 seconds of video or 10 seconds of video. This is a big problem. Now, this is going to be a big problem for the next 5 to 10 years. How does Hollywood respond to this? Because they don't want people's voices taken, people's images or likenesses taken, people's music style or flair taken. They don't want someone to produce live action movies or live concerts that are on par with real concerts that are very expensive to create. Multiple entities or thousands of entities that look like the real thing. Kind of like if you go to the gaming world, you see the fans in the arena when you're playing an NBA or NFL game. Okay? Now, how can we create the same type of syntheticness that has the same veracity and the same fidelity as a real concert? This is a big problem. And that means getting lots of licenses to lots of patents or licenses to lots of proprietary technology to make it on par with something like Flight Simulator. You would have something like a movie simulator or a show simulator or something like even a game simulator, something that you can create games very easily without nothing but a prompt-based engineering here. That is phenomenal. That would be phenomenal for the industry. People would be making tons and tons of games, tons and tons of shows, and tons of movies. Now, what problem would be caused by that? Well, we will need lots of space to store all that AI generated content. We'll need lots of money to fuel those startups that create this type of infrastructure for other people, but it will pay off eventually because people will start getting into this. I can do that. I can create. Not I can passively watch and be the 99%. I can be the 1%. So this is 1% economy turned into 100% economy. So everybody can do it. It lowers the entry field or entry barrier to other people to get involved into this creative phenomenon and not worry about, well, I need to get this 3D model and then I need to use mocap. Then I need to get this 3D model of this person or this person and license it. That gets very complicated, and rigging and all that stuff It's very complicated after a while, and if it's done, it's not scalable in a way. It gets very so people have to create tools to automatically rig, automatically generate 3D models, automatically create background scenes that are believable and on par with Hollywood, on par with something that is extremely clear and cut without using 2,000 servers in a Beowulf cluster or 2 years to complete, you know? So something that can be that can give you some uh, time that you can do it in maybe 1 day or 2 hours or 10 minutes. You give it the storyline, you give it the sketch, and it fills in the details and generates some lively video full of dialogue, action sequences, romance, musicals, and all sorts of other things. Now, the closest thing I've seen to this is a app called Plotagon, and that's the closest thing I've seen to this. You put in your text, it generates, and you change the emotions, and that's the closest thing I've seen to this type of genre, text to movie, for a very limited number of degrees of freedom that are usually found in a movie. And there were lots of tools of like this back in the 90s. One that I used to use was the 3D Movie Maker. And now it's available online, open source, or, yeah, under the MIT license. But it's not complete. So there's lots of things that have created which require the human in the loop. But if you remove the human in the loop and create some AI in the loop only, that would be sensational. Now, how do you do this? Fully autonomous movie creation without any that is on par with a Scorsese or a Brando or something like that. That would be really cool. Artistic films, realistic films, non-fiction films, documentaries, uh, films that can send a message but are realistic and credible, without putting all the lyrics, all the screenplay on there. Just give it a nice sketch, like all these music gen that are available right now at this point in time. You just give it very simple, a one sentence description, it generates the music for you. Or you give it the lyrics and it generates the music for you. This is amazing stuff. This is very powerful stuff, and it can do amazing breakthroughs for the whole industry, especially for content creators. Now, how do we go about doing this? Well, I think the best thing to do is to find out the algorithms in each of these directors' palette. What type of algorithms do they use? And kind of get inspired and come up with your own algorithm. Something unique, something generic is going to be boring. Something banal is something boring. But find some clusters in the hyperspace that where actors or producers or directors or cinematographers or wonderful casters have not gone. A show about midgets, or a show about big people, or a show about ordinary people. Show about rich and the famous has already been done by many places, but maybe a one on middle class, or one that's done on that. And how would you stitch the story in such a way that it's believable? That's the question that remains unanswered. And I think lots of people are worried about all this money being spent on GenAI, but can it create a flowing story that can be so persuasive that it can win Academy Award, a Tony, an Emmy, even the music along with it, the soundtrack music can win a Grammy Award. That would be amazing. Now, if you look at it, this seems like a really good place to be right now, because earlier we were doing stuff like deep learning or classification of handwriting recognition, and now we've jumped so much far the whole industry into a genre that was previously unconceivable. Like, how could you create something just out of mere tools or using a fancy algorithm, either linear or nonlinear? This would be really amazing. So, why do I think this way? I think this is really interesting because um, lots of people have been asking for this for many years. You have the Max Headstorm with the people person face there and moving talking head. But that was computer graphics. But what if you have autonomous computer graphics? Now that's going to be really cool. Okay? So from here we go on to Uncanny Valley, where we say, well, this looks like the real thing. I can't tell the difference between this and an ordinary amateur or veteran or very polished or seasoned director, producer, screenwriter. That would be sensational. It would mean loss to that industry without stealing any voices, without stealing any likenesses, without stealing any signature directorial styles like Hitchcockian or other type of styles there. So this is what I think. And I also believe that video games have a lot to do with this. If you look at Grand Theft Auto from Vice City, Grand Theft Auto paved the way for a lot with his storyline, but you don't know how many years it took them to create that storyline. Now, how can you expect that type of storyline? Now, one thing that you want to try to do is, okay, well, why don't we parameter sweep all storylines and then mix and match them, kind of like an earlier essay I wrote on Blogger called "What is Music? Create What is a Film?" And basically, you take these little engrams of scenes and you mix and match them, and you make them modular. So you can take out the characters and put in other characters. So you have standard classics, okay, like you have someone crying. You can modularize it. You can customize. You can extend it. You can make it extensible. Okay, that would be one step. The next step is to change it so you can have different locales. Like you can do different languages. Okay, now different types of likenesses, different types of music in the background from different cultures. So what you can do, you make the film once, and then it can reorient itself to different cultures depending on what you want to do. So this is really cool. This is really exciting. Now, why would this be exciting? Because I don't want to make a film just for one genre and have it dubbed. I want to make the picture multiple times for different genres and make it loosely adapted to the initial picture. Now, you could do lots of things with this. You could have lots of derivatives from this. But the question is, how do you get something that's fully autonomous movie making without stealing any of the prior art? Well, one move is, well, why don't you do self-play? Just try different things and have some active learning, yes or no, on there. This has been tried in the research literature for many, many, many years. And this is a problem that I've thought about a long time. This is like if you see like a chess game, and you see the chess game, and you pick random chess positions, and then you say can stitch them together. The same thing is a chess game is just like a movie film. You can have multiple choose your own adventures, and that's famous for the books that were there. But forget about choose your own adventure. You can have multiple plot lines juxtaposed together. Now you have to really know films in order to do this in such a way that is really, really creative and really, really understandable and really, really believable. You don't want to have films that are so obvious that you say the word Bob and Bob appears. Some guy who looks like Bob that is recognizable. You want to have something that is nostalgic but has some exoticness to it. So it catches people off the toes so they're engaged in the film. And this is the same thing I said in my earlier essay, What is Music? You have to have music that is so believable, but it has some kick to it that makes it exotic. Now that's what we need for the next generation of movie making and music soundtrack making. And that's what I think is going to be the future. And this is episode 1 of Long Tail News for 2024 on generative AI for movies and music soundtracks. And this is Shyamal Chandra. Thank you. Bye-bye.